Welcome back! Episode 2 of Showpeople Songwriting Showdown. This is our first listening week and elimination week. We're gonna listen to the songs. They're gonna tell us about what they wrote. Judges, including our guest judge of the week, are going to provide their thoughts, their feedback. We're gonna set up next week's prompts and everything with the teams that move on. As always, we have our judge Amanda, our judge Brighton, and this week's guest judge, Mr. Drew Jacobson. Drew, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Drew. I am a musician and guest judge. Thank you very much.
Woo! And just a little bit of letting the contestants know what they're in for. Drew has requested to adopt a Simon Cowell personality in his judging this week. So just so you're all getting ready. This is our judges' first time judging, all of them. So they're going to figure out what their criteria of what impresses them happens as we go along. So each team has a potential of winning up to 15 points for their songs. Here are your songs. Your song titles, at least, you know? All right. Here we go. Who's up first?
Yippee!
Oh. The chase / bar. All right. This is from Team Travis, and it is now Team Travis alone. Unfortunately, Shannon had to step out during this week, so Travis wrote this song entirely by himself.
So my prompt was a mouse trying to find a warm place to hide, I believe. And then also I decided to incorporate Legos into it as well.
Quick update with the mouse song. I spent a few hours finishing up the words, and I got the words. And there's like two sort of main sections to it. And now I'm doing the music after I did the words. Although while I was writing the words, I sort of had an idea of what I wanted the music to be. The mouse finds a hole and then sings about how it's sad being far away from its family, and that's like a second part. And then it finds the Lego house at the end. It's never mentioned that it finds the Lego house. It doesn't say like, oh, a Lego house. But it's a Lego house regardless. Okay, bye.
So, this song, the reason why it's called the chase / bar is because when I was envisioning it, I sort of had these two sections, which is more like a what's happening section and a what's being felt section. So the first section is the mouse actually running away from this cat. Eventually the mouse retaliates against the cat and then finds a warm place to hide, and then has a little ballad moment about how it feels about being this far away from home because it's been on the run for a while.
All right, ready? Yes, clear the song.
Hours, 7 hours. For 7 hours I've been on the run, and Jesus Christ, I wish that it was done. 'Cause it's not fun. I'm out of breath, and I smell like death. Cover, a little cover from the cold outside would be the perfect place to bide my time and safely hide. It's just a wish. Hey, do you want to fish? Nope, okay, fine, jeez. As I run and duck and beeline from this mother feline, I wish speed and luck would be a lady tonight, but I'm getting so much exercise, which really is a nice surprise. Perhaps I'll learn to utilize this power to fight. Later, 3 days later, and I've kept on going. Now I see my muscles have been growing. I feel I'm slowing. I look back, then I attack. The wind picks up. The cat retreats. It gets colder. I take a pause. Is that a hole? Finally, somewhere warm. This tunnel goes on for a while, and I've never seen this house before. I must have run far. Far, such a little word. Far doesn't mean that much. Far, it's what you think about. Far is what you hear in stories. Far is just a fantasy. Far is not reality. But when you lose your way back home, far becomes real. When you don't know where to go, it's something you can feel. When you've got no cheese and your little knees grow weaker by the second, you learn that far was once surreal, but now it's your toughest ordeal. Footsteps. I can't deal with another chase. Footsteps. They sound bigger than a cat. Footsteps. I need to find a hiding place. Footsteps. Ow! What the heck was that?
Woo! All right. Our first song of the competition. Yay!
Wow.
Good job, Travis. Can you talk to me a little bit about what the writing process was?
Yeah, so first I sort of came up with like general bullet point ideas that I wanted. And then eventually just sort of like through brainstorming, I sort of like found like a whole like plot of a show that like resolved like this Lego house and like a main character of like this kid who like lost his father and inherited all of his dad's Legos, but he doesn't know how to build the Legos. Then it sort of becomes Ratatouille, where like the mouse helps him build the Legos, like in his hair and everything. And so that sort of helped try to fit this song into like that larger structure of the show. I did most of the lyrics first, with sort of like rhythms of the words and melodies in my head, and then sat down at a piano and figured everything out.
How long did it take you to work it all out, would you say?
I worked on it a half hour directly after the Zoom call on Saturday. And then I did not touch it until the day before it was due, and worked for 5 hours that day, finishing it.
Nice.
And then recorded it the day that it was due.
Was Shannon leaving, did that derail your plan, your progress at all?
It did a little bit, just sort of in like the shock value of like, oh poop, I have to do music and lyrics. I can't just do the music. And also Shannon had some good ideas that I was hoping to get from her to like take it in a different direction. But then she left and I didn't have what those ideas were, so I was like, all right, I guess I have to do what I was planning on now, which is this mouse song. But I liked the way I was able to carry it out and adapt last minute to what happened. And I'm relatively proud of the result.
As you should be. All right, great. Thank you. And thank you for, sharing all that with us. Miss Amanda Lee Morrill.
Lyrics, I thought the rhymes were strong, and I love a good little allusion to another show tune. So I like your Luck Be a Lady Tonight reference. So I really like the way you use meter to support the line and allow the character to think. Musically, it feels like a little Sondheim-ish. I don't know if that's an insult to you. It shouldn't be an insult to anyone. I mean it as a compliment, but it wasn't the style I was expecting for the mouse song. And so that was a fun surprise, the harmonic motion of it. I think that's all a strength for you. That all worked very well to tell the story. Yeah, that's my feedback on that tune.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Judge Brighton, please.
I wrote so jazzy, wow. Okay, key change, and then sang, because like, geez, that's not an easy line to sing. There was a weird tonal shift with the cursing. I thought it was hilarious, but I was also like, hold up. Wait, I remember hearing some of the rhythms and I was like, oh dear, if I were the actor trying to learn this, I would be like screwed. For someone like me going into like a show, like I would personally struggle with this song. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, because like there's so many composers who write really hard stuff to read, but like that was one of my concerns, was like, would an actor struggle to learn this? You did a good job.
Thank you.
You did a good job singing. I was like, wow, there he goes. He's like, I can't sing. I'm like, you're a liar.
Thank you.
And Drew.
3 positives. One, I enjoyed the first part. It felt as though the mouse was running in the music, which I appreciated. The lyrics were fine. They were like cheesy, no pun intended, but like it works for a mouse. Time to get real. I also wrote it felt a little Sondheim-ish, but not. To me, it felt like the melody was written and the piano part were written, and they didn't mesh for me. I felt like it is jazzy, but it also felt a bit out of the key. Like I was trying to pick out when you were singing with like mixing it with the piano, and I was like, I can't find it. So that was one thing that, yeah. And lastly, when I think of a mouse, I think of like little like squeaking, and everything felt very low and like trudging along, and that doesn't give mouse, because mouse feels very small and up here maybe. So those are my extraordinarily subjective opinions. Overall, nice work.
Thank you, Drew.
Next song up. Like I Meant to. This is Michael, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. So 2 in a row. All right. So unfortunately, Oksana also had to leave us this week, leaving Michael to write the song on his own. Except that Oksana left later on in the week, so while Travis had more of the week to anticipate this, Michael was sort of coming in clutch, honestly, with finishing up the song to get it to me. All right, so Michael, tell me a little bit about the story that you wrote for us in Like I Meant to.
Sure. So essentially, the main character, she works in a library owned by her parents. She has dreams of becoming a Broadway singer, but her parents don't want her to. They want her to either keep running the family business as the librarian or the owner, or pursue some other career. And in this song, she's singing about how she doesn't want to be held down by her parents' expectations of her anymore. Also, she has the ability to talk to books, which I think makes her very Disney princess-esque. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the general vibe.
Great, thank you. All right, let's give it a listen.
There's a secret nobody knows. The shelves are stocked with ears. They hear every show. All I want is to be heard by more than this. But there's my parents who bond and hold me in. What's that? Quiet? People? Looks like it's time to open shop. So singing stops. I have to sit at the desk. Who knew having your parents own a library would crush your dreams and make life seem a whole bit meaningless wreck. Born in a family that values silence. Born in a family that works in silence. Here's to a family who wants the best for me. story about a girl who has, and the songs you sing for you achieve. And I sing them because of the front desk queue. If I try to sing, they always trust me. If I try to shout, I would be silent. They say shh, but not anymore. That's right, I'm saying not anymore. I'm through with keeping my head low. I'm done with going with the flow. I'll raise my voice, and I'll sing like I'm meant to. I'll sing like I mean it. I'll sing like I need to, because I do. No more stretching, 'cause now I'll sing like I'm meant to.
Nice. Nicely done. Michael, can you give us a little insight into your writing process on this one?
Sure. So I compose like classical music mostly. So I started with the music first versus Travis's process. I essentially wrote down all of the music ideas that I had, then kind of compiled them into verse and then bridge and chorus and stuff like that. Then I wrote all the lyrics over that. Well, that was like last minute things. I actually, Oksana and I talked. We were originally going to have her write most of the lyrics since that was her area of expertise. But then I ended up just writing them all like really quickly in I think like 2 hours or something. And then yeah, that's what I did.
I'm going to start with Judge Brighton this time.
Born in a family that values silence like really stood out to me. Yeah, I was like, dang, that feels like kind of like the summary of the song. If you had to put it in one sentence, I was like, dang. I thought some of the phrasing was a little bit funky here and there, just with like there were rests in the middle of sentences where I wasn't expecting them, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like I can imagine if this was like a full fleshed out musical and we had more of this character, like maybe it's a character thing. But I also understand that like if the lyrics were rushed and kind of like thrown on top of the music, it could just be a consequence of how it was put together. So I'm not gonna like knock you for that. I don't know. Part of me wishes there was like a talking to books break. I don't know why. That's kind of all I got.
Drew, let's hear your thoughts.
I am gonna knock you for the phrasing. It wasn't for me. It just didn't work. That's what I have to say about that. I was looking for an intro too. It felt like we sort of just like started the song. Like he clicked play and then all of a sudden I'm there. The lyrics just felt very like telling. Like you're telling what's happening and not like maybe versus like show it. Like very sort of like here's what's happening now. Here's what's happening now. As opposed to sort of living in the moment or coming from emotion or something. I think I like the brief orchestrations we got. That was exciting to hear. But just as the I One song setting up the whole show, it just wasn't clicking for me. I didn't feel like she was a Broadway. She wanted to be a Broadway star. Honestly, that's sort of what it was. But besides that, good work.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Drew. And Amanda, what your thoughts, please?
I think that it might have been a little too much too soon in this song. If the intro is her preparing to open the shop and it is this quiet moment, I think I would have saved all the brass for the later section where she starts like singing her heart out and saying, this is what I really want to do. You know, that contrast might have been great because when I think quiet library opening, I don't think trumpet stabs. So I think I would save any brass instruments, possibly save the drums even until that louder, poppier section of this tune. I don't really know where we came from to get to that point. Or this first section kind of lacked that stylistic clarity. The faster section was much more clearly oriented in a style, and I really appreciated that. I agree that the lyrics were a little too expository. It's like if it made me think this must be the opening number. And I agree with this, like maybe show rather than tell. However, I applaud you just for writing lyrics. A team member had dropped out pretty late in the week. And, you know, I sort of mentioned to Miles, like, what I think would be knocking it out of the park would be to finish out the song and have lyrics. I think that that's a big move as a competitor, even if they're not the world's greatest lyrics, just to finish it out and do all of the work yourself. So I'm really excited that both our teams, where one person dropped, these people came out with like a polished final product that they could put their name on. Also, the prompt didn't really do you favors on this front, because I would expect a librarian by family trade to have probably some of the most clever lyrics I've ever heard, just because of the skills of like articulation and the literary references that this person would have. I would expect them to have arguably like the best lyrics in the show. And I don't know that these lyrics are quite up to snuff with that. I do applaud that there were lyrics at all. I think a fail would have been to just have no lyrics and be like, well, I did my part and my team member dropped, so what do I do? You know, there were some breaks, like little spaces in the middle of lines. And I don't think it's intuitive. I don't think it's what's expected. And I don't know that the demo convinced me, but it's kind of dope though. Like it could work if it were massaged a little bit. The drummer in me is like very excited about the idea of putting these breaks into lines and seeing if you can pull it off orchestration wise and maybe let the singer float over it. So yeah, I see where Drew's coming from. I think there's a little bit more to the bones of it than maybe his analysis suggests.
Thank you, judges. Write your assumed point score down for later reference, and let's get the next song up. Gardener Anthem. All right. So this is Dan's song, Team Dan, who is the one who's not here with us, but Dan recorded his song on a video, so we get to watch Dan do it at least and see how that is. Yeah.
Bought some pots when she left, walked to the hardware store, tried to buy some tools to fix my broken heart. Got some soil, got some seeds, got everything I need to try and go into a brand new start. Oh yes indeed. Sure, I guess things were tough for just a little while, but was it so bad that she had to depart? Winter's cold when it's dark here in the city, but I didn't think I put the horse before the cart. So I can see when I look out the window to the fire escape where we once threw burned out cigarettes like paper planes into the night. All I see is rusted iron and shadows shaped like someone new, doing pirouettes holding you while you feel light. Fill myself up with plants, I got a couple shoots pushing up through the soil towards the sun. So I sit and I wait for some new flowers to come. I got a little hope where there was none. Still all I see when I look out the window to the fire escape where we once threw burned out cigarettes like paper planes into the night. And all I see is rusted iron and shadow shaped like someone new,
Well, all right. Dan isn't here to tell us anything about the song or his process, but Drew, let me hear what your thoughts are.
The first section was not bad. There were some chords that, or some like, there was a little dissonance in between sometimes between the chords and the vocals, which I don't think was on purpose. Made me sort of like tilt my head a little bit. The switch of the sections, I hated, honestly. It just did not work for me at all. Like it felt like there were two separate songs. Honestly, they weren't put together. There was no like, there was no good welding. Um, it didn't feel like they flowed. Um, and the second section just sort of felt underdeveloped to me. It felt like he knew the chords and then the melody was sort of improv. I liked that I knew the vibe of the song like immediately, like I know what kind of show it takes place in, and that also could just be from the guitar. You know, like when you have a guitar, it brings a certain sound. You know, where it feels like we're in Once or like Spring Awakening type, like all these type of shows. It's like indie folk type thing, which I thought worked well. In a song like that, where it sort of feels like there is a verse and a chorus or whatever, I want something to be able to remember. And right now, I couldn't really sing you the chorus.
Amanda, your thoughts, please.
So interesting when a singer-songwriter like from kind of outside musical theater steps into this role, you know, because it does really show you what a different beast it is to write for a musical. And so when we started this competition, we're open to people from other styles, but we have tried to let everyone know that it is a heavily informed by musical theater type, not heavenly, it can be secular, I don't have an allegiance to any of that, but it's a very heavily influenced by musical theater type project. And so for me, it's a different type of storytelling than might be required in other genres. So what I wrote down with this is that it gave me some Waitress vibes at first, which I liked. I was into it. And I like the shows you named, Drew, as well. I think, yeah, like this indie pop kind of style is cool. And immediately there was a pretty clear style and personality to this music. Like you can tell who Dan is. That really comes through in the song. However, lyrically, for me, it left a lot to be desired. The gardener theme did not stay present for me through this song. And it was sort of, I think cigarette butts were just as strong a visual as any gardening terminology that maybe got dropped, which also for me made this very New York, because I don't know who this gardener is that we're on the fire escape, but also gardening, which is a different type of garden, and I'm into it. But I just think getting maybe a little bit more creative with the location or grounding me more in the location would have been helpful. I also think direct repeats of lyrics are very hard to pull off in musical theater for me. I almost never want to hear the same chorus the same way with no changes. There needs to be something, maybe orchestrationally only, but I am less convinced by songs that usually there's some clever thing that has happened in a verse or in a bridge, and then there will be slight differences in those directly repeated lyrics. And that's something that I think is not required in pop styles, but becomes very, very important in musical theater. I don't know, moving forward, any contestant is welcome to do a direct repeat of lyrics, but know that at least one of your judges is like, did that need to be an exact repeat? You got to justify these direct repeats, no changes. Lyrically, not my winner for today, probably on the front of lyrics.
All right, and Brighton, any thoughts to add?
I mean, I was vibing. I thought like the ascending descending was neat, like especially like the opening. I found myself almost getting distracted because I just kept thinking about how I enjoyed it so much. It felt like vaguely Blackbirdy to me. I guess a question that I have is like, what is the story? And I'm worried that that is a question that I shouldn't have. I think I wrote down the lyrics felt slightly enigmatic, which is okay. I think like in certain ways, like, you know, you can kind of have like a little riddle of a lyric. I've certainly done that myself in a song before, but like part of me wonders about the actability of it. especially with the lyric repeats. Because one of the like really neat lyrics was the cigarettes, like paper planes into the night. I was like, bro, that's a sick lyric. But like, I wonder if that can almost be like a little like motif that comes back like at the end of the song and it kind of leaves it like hanging in the air. It's more broadly like an environmental anthem rather than like a gardener anthem. Yeah, I don't know. I was vibing with the style. I thought it was neat.
Make notes of your point values, and this will now determine what the order the final two songs are.
Oh crap. Guys, I think I have to flip the record. Give me a sec.
And by the time Brighton figures out that it's not possible to watch a vinyl record, maybe we'll get back to you with that part 2.